Diasporans can play a very important role in the economic development of their country of origin. Thanks for joining us on the Ghanaian Farmer channel. My name is Enyunam. If this is your first time watching our channel, please subscribe and share all the videos you watch. And remember to also press on that notification button so every new video we upload, you will get to see it. We've received a couple of questions in the area of agriculture financing or investment. And so a lot of people who especially are Ghanaians are asking, Enyunam, what can I invest my money into in the area of agriculture? Are there short-term, mid-term or long-term crops that you can advise, or livestock that you can advise for us to invest our money into? So today I'm going to be doing that discussion with an agribusiness professional. She's also does a lot of consulting for people who want to go into agriculture. Abna Mamle Abedi is my guest, and she will be helping me to better understand and also advise what to do. Abna, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you finally.
Yeah.
Right, so if this is the first time a layman hears the word agriculture financing, please break it down for us. What are we referring to?
It's simply the expenditure we make in the agricultural sector, and the investment we make when it comes to the business side of the agriculture space. Okay. So any form of investment, it could be short, it could be long term.
Okay. So when you say expenditure, what are you talking about? Please don't speak big English for us. We are farmers.
Okay. So for instance, you are into rice. You buy seed.
Yes.
The money you use to buy the seed is an expenditure.
Okay.
You buy fertilizer.
Right.
The money you use to buy that is an expenditure. You employ the services of a combined harvester, or you employ the services of human beings to go and harvest the rice for you. It's a cost. Okay. So all that cost is an expenditure. So all those little costs that you put into your activity is an expenditure. So that is an agricultural expenditure.
Okay, all right. Now, are there short-term or long-term or medium-term investments in the area of agriculture? For instance, if I have a friend who lives in the UK and says, hi, Enyunam, I have about 50,000, what duration of crop or livestock will you advise I invest my money into? Are there these? And if you mention short term, what kind of crop are you referring to? Medium term, what are you talking about? And long term, what are you talking about?
Okay, so first of all, let me say that when we say agribusiness, so agribusiness constitutes both the agriculture and the business side of agriculture.
Okay.
And when you say agribusiness, it doesn't only mean crops, crop, animals, aquaculture, and then so that is even production. So value addition, anything value addition is also agriculture, even marketing, packaging. And then the services that are supplied at each point of these process. Everything is called agriculture. Okay. So anything that you put your money in and gets your returns in a year or less, we can term it as short term. And anything that you put your money in and get your money out from a year to, let's say, 2 years, we can say it's medium term. Anything above 2 years, we can say long term. Yes.
Okay, so for instance, we can refer mango or cashew, cocoa. These can be referred to as long-term investment.
Yes, long-term investments.
All right. So it means if I'm giving money to cocoa farmer, I should keep my mind that in the next 5 years before I'll be getting my money. Is that not it?
No, not exactly. But at what point are you putting the money in? Are you putting the money in so that the person begins to farm?
From the scratch? From
the scratch. If it's from the scratch, then of course you should be expecting any return would be from like 4 years.
Okay.
But if the farm is already established and maybe the person needs inputs, so the farm is already established, the person has started harvesting, and then you put in some money for inputs, then in a year you should get some kind of return. So it depends on at what point are you putting the money in. Yes, at what point are you putting the money into the business? So for instance, somebody would say, oh, I want to go into rice farm. I have a lot of people calling me, oh, I want to go into rice farm and all of that. And I ask you, how much do you have? The person says, oh, maybe I have 50,000 Ghana cedis, and I'm now looking for a land and all of that. With 50,000 Ghana cedis, you're now looking for a land. You may not be able to do much.
With 50,000?
Yes, with 50,000 cedis, you're now looking for a land. Maybe the land is not even developed. Unless you are hiring a land that is already developed. Then you know that if you're putting in that money, you're going to get your money in maximum 6 months. But otherwise,
50,000 can't do much.
Yeah, so you must look at what point are you putting the money into the business.
Okay, very clearly understood. So a lot of the viewers who watch the Ghanaian Farmer are scattered around the globe. We have messages and calls from everywhere. So largely this episode is dedicated for these people, and they will call and say, I live in the US, I'm in the UK, Australia, I'm in Canada, I want to come and invest in agriculture because I loved what you're doing. People like that, which areas do you advise, especially those who come to Ghana once in a year? What do you advise would be best for them to invest in?
For such a person, I would first of all want to find out your risk tolerance. For instance, I am with my risk tolerance is very low. So if I want to put in money, I want to put it at a point where every month I get updates on my money. That is me. My risk tolerance is low. But somebody would say, oh, my risk tolerance is maybe in the middle. So if I put in money, I don't mind. I can put in the money. Don't give me any updates. After a year, come and tell me something. Or maybe after 2 years. Or maybe I give you $5,000 in 2 years. Bring me maybe 5,500 USD. That's an agreement I've had with you. So I can go and sleep and be sure that
in the next 2 years
I will come for my money. So if for such a person, I would ask you a lot of questions. What is your risk tolerance? What is your objective for wanting to invest into the agribusiness space? And then based on what you tell me, I can guide you and say, oh, maybe put your money in here or put your money in there. But really, if you live in abroad and you don't live here and you come here once in a year, then I will advise you to play safe. You should rather look for a credible investment company and then give your money to them so that you deal directly with them. So you give your money to them, but you tell them, I want my money to be invested in this area.
Okay.
It's just like what the donors do now. The donors would give you, you would hear that, oh, this donor is giving this amount of money, but actually they tell the implementing partner what they want their money to be used for.
So if I understand you, let's break it down. Instead of my cameraman, for instance, he doesn't have kobo, but today I'll bless him. Instead of Francis giving me his $10,000, that you are into orange cereal production, you sit and give me my returns. He should rather look for Count on Crops or the Ghanaian Farmer and give the Ghanaian farmer, take my $10,000. I want you to invest into agriculture for me. After 2 years, come and account for the profit. Is that not what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But if your risk tolerance level is high, you can take risk.
Okay.
Then I want to find out specifically what do you want to do. Some people will say, oh, I want to come and settle in Ghana maybe in 5 years' time. So I want to get some investment here and I want to go into farming. Maybe I want to go into crops. Yes, so for that one, you will still need a credible institution or someone to manage that farm for you so that by the time you return in 5 years, you have a farm,
Okay.
and you don't have a desert. Sometimes you return and you don't even have the land at all.
There is nothing there.
There's nothing there. They've been taking pictures of other people's farms
geez.
and showing it to you. So for such a person, really, I would always advise my clients to play safe.
Okay. All right.
So
give it to a company to manage.
yes, give it to an investment, a credible investment company to manage. Not an investment company that you come back and they fold it up. So you should give it to somebody who has a track record, or you should give it to somebody who has a proven track record that has done something on the ground that can be tracked. So for instance, if the Ghanaian farmer has been in the system for like 3 years and they've been doing very well, and there's some kind of track record. I mean, this is an established institution, and you can be sure that they are not going to fold up anytime soon. When you come, you meet Enyon. When you come, you meet the other people. Give such money to such people to manage it for you, and then you come back. And of course, they should be accounting to you.
Right.
So they should be sending you reports, what your monies have been used for. Anytime you're in Ghana, you can go and see exactly what they are using your money for.
Okay. How does an individual, an agric enthusiast, that's how I call them, people who have developed love or passion for agric, how do I identify an opportunity, a business opportunity or an economic opportunity in the area of agriculture investment? What do I see to say that, no, I think this is an opportunity I'd love to invest in?
You should be somebody who seeks for information. You should be somebody who can do research. If you can't do research, you rely on credible research organizations to give you reports of what you want to do.
Okay.
Deal with professionals, deal with experts. Don't, after gathering information from people, maybe you go to your village, people are saying, hey, so say there, rice, a copper, sika womo. Then you go and get money and then come and put it in. Speak to people, speak to professionals, speak to people who have a track record so that they can guide you after you have found your information. After you have researched, you come back to them, you ask them questions, and then you must go to the ground to verify.
Okay.
Go to the ground to verify. Mostly people would come to me, or I work for clients, and my question would be, do you want credible information, or you want me to garnish the information depending on what you are going to use the information for? Of course, if you are going to use the information to get some funding and all of that, those ones, they are well garnished. But even such customers, such clients, when they approach me, I still will ask them, do you want a reality, or you want, because I know that if you go to MOFA, most of the information we have available is well garnished. So, I mean, in that regards, I will advise you, go to the ground and do leg work. If you can't go to the ground and do leg work, get somebody who can do it and follow the person and go and see it with your own eyes before you go and bring any money and put it in. Because people have done a lot of wrong investments, and it has gone bad for them. Yeah.
Plenty. As for that story, Abna, we'll go into that some other time. Now, agricultural investment. I'll go back to the client who has a 10,000. Do you advise that between these two category of farmers, startup farmer, already existing farmer, or a commercial farmer, who among these two do you advise investors give money to?
You can give money to any of them depending on the reality on the ground. So you could be a commercial farmer. So in this regard, I'm limiting the conversation to a farmer.
Yeah.
You can be a commercial farmer. What does a commercial farmer have? Maybe the person says, I'm a commercial farmer, but whatever makes me a commercial farmer is just the size of my land.
Okay.
If land is just what you're using to qualify yourself as a commercial farmer, then I'll compare that to a smallholder farmer, a startup farmer. A startup farmer who has some bit of infrastructure to cushion the person against the climate. So maybe the person is a startup farmer with just maybe 5 acres, but the person has bonded the farm or has put in place something that collects water on the farm. Maybe the person has a stream running through the farm. Maybe the person has a pump to pump water from that stream. So I would look at not just what do you have?
Okay.
What do you have so that I can
based on that,
what do you have so that I can be safe with my investments? For instance, if I give the money to a commercial farmer who has, let's say, 100 acres, it's just 100 acres. 100 acres, you don't have any crop insurance, you have nothing, you just have the land. I wouldn't want to come and put my money there. But if a startup farmer has, let's say, 5 acres, but the person has put in place some infrastructure to collect water, the person has bonded his or her farm, the person has information on crop insurance and has taken steps to go and insure the farm against disease, pest, and exactly. I would want to give my money to such a person. As against
come on. How many farmers in this country have taken insurance, have, you know, protected the borders of their farming, have created ways to harvest rainwater so that they can plant all year through, and let's say, how many of them?
We will have just a handful of farmers at that. But then again, even if you don't have, you know, there are some there are companies now that would give you weather updates.
Okay.
Have you signed up to such
information updates?
Yes, such information updates. If you haven't, your district MOFA, sometimes I know there's a project like that they send the farmers some weather updates. Do you receive it regularly so that you can use that to plan your farming activity? So if I want to put in my 10,000 cedis in a farm, whether commercial or a startup, I would want to see what does the person have.
So these are some relevant questions.
Exactly. Anything that has to protect my 10,000 Ghana cedis so that I don't lose it.
Right. Okay. Okay, so you're still watching the Ghanaian Farmer Studio conversation tailored towards agriculture investment. My name is Enyinam, and my guest, an agribusiness professional and consultant, Abna Mamle Abedi, is breaking things down for us. She tells me, Enyinam, I'm going to tell you the reality. I'm not going to polish the things for you. Abna, are there risks in agriculture investment?
Yes, yes, a lot of risk.
Just mention a few.
A lot of risk. You could have risk related to production. You could have risk that is related to you personally. You could have risk related to policies. So then that your government comes in. You could have price or market risk. So for instance, production risk. There could be disease outbreak. There could be fire outbreak. There could be flood, droughts. You will lose your investments, or your yields will be low, and so there's some kind of loss.
Your financial
it will affect your projections. If it comes to price or markets, you can go and buy. Your inputs cost is very expensive. So let's take last year, for instance, the way the dollar and the CD was going up and down. Farmers were buying inputs at a very high cost. But you see the dollar has stabilized now. So if I borrowed at a higher cost last year and I've still not sold my produce, so what is happening to the soya bean farmers? They claim that they borrowed money at a higher cost to go and buy high cost inputs. And government says you cannot export the soya bean. Meanwhile, the person, now that the dollar has stabilized, the person knows that if I sell here, I'm not going to cover my cost. Even if I cover my cost, it's just enough for me to break even. I will not even make profit. So that is a market risk or a price risk. You borrow at a high cost or you buy your input at a high cost. By the time you come back to sell, the prices have dropped. So farmers who farmed rice last year, the input cost was so high. Now, the dollar has stabilized, and so the imported rice is a little bit cheaper. And so the imported rice is moving faster than the local rice. And the local rice person says, me, I borrowed at a higher cost to buy the input. So I also cannot reduce my cost. So in that case, your rice will sit down for a long time. So that's some of the dynamics. Yeah, that's some of the so that's a market or a price risk dynamic. Let's come to things like policy. Look at the way now we are being burdened by taxes upon taxes. You are paying this, you are paying that. Because we are going to IMF, we need to increase our revenue as a nation. And so every day we are piling tax. Every day we are piling tax. So it makes business really difficult. And so that affects everybody in that agribusiness value chain.
Okay. In that case.
And even personal risk. You could lose you could lose your life by accident, illness. You can lose your family. You can lose your wife or husband, even your friends. So there's a lot of risk.
Okay. When someone is going to invest, do you advise that the person look or take into consideration crops that are in high demand, crops that are in trending, like people say this is the one that is moving, this is the one that is moving, and then you push your money there, or any kind of area, being it value addition, being it buying and selling, being it the production of any form of livestock or aquaculture, I can just invest without putting my mind into is it moving or not?
I believe anybody who has money to invest would definitely consider the consistency of revenue. And so the person would definitely want to look at how can I get back my money consistently in the shortest possible time. And so you would have to look at the environment. You would have to look at the environment. What are people willing to buy? What are people willing to buy? How fast does it go? If it's the minor season where we don't have enough rains, I would want to put my money in vegetables, because around that time you don't have a lot of farmers producing vegetables under irrigation. So if it's around that time, I would put my money at where we don't have a lot of farmers putting in their resources. So it's a demand and supply
kind of thing.
So I would look at when do we have the more demand but less supply. So I wouldn't want to put my money at a time where every farmer is producing. So if it's maize, around this time everybody is doing maize. So if I put my money in maize, I won't want to sell fresh maize. I would want to dry and store and come and sell when the demand is high and then the supply is low. That is when I would bring out my maize and come and sell.
Money woman.
Yes, because if I put in my money, I should be getting my money consistently.
I know, right? I know. Yes. Okay, now how much is enough for a first-time investor? If Obed seated at the corner there, who doesn't have $2,000? But you let me bless him with 5,000. He says, I have 5,000, Ghanaian farmer. I want to invest. How much would you advise Obed that as a first-timer, you can put it into an agribusiness?
Well, because the space is broad, as low as anything that you have, you can invest in anything agribusiness. So depending on your money, if your money is small, then of course you don't go into do the actual work. So your money is 1,000 Ghana cedis. You want to go and farm rice. You can't do that. So I would rather take that money and give it to someone who is farming rice. Now people are doing crowdfunding for rice. So I would put my money in such a thing and then go and get my returns in 6 months. So any amount of money you have, you can invest. the amount of money determines exactly where to put your money.
But
so it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily
you
have
don't
to
cap
be.
it.
Yes,
You don't cap
no,
it.
I won't cap it.
That is the first time. I advise you, you give 5,000. Don't give 10,000. No, you don't cap it.
No.
You only look at what the person can do with that money.
Yes, I won't cap it. So if you have 5,000 CDs, 5,000 CDs, if it's the crowdfunding you want to put your money in, please make sure the crowdfunding you want to put your money in is credible.
About crowdfunding, that comes to my second and last question. How on 0 to 10, how likely is it that when I put in this my 2,000 or even 5,000 cedis, at the end of 3 months, I will get my returns?
Money?
Yes, because I've seen a lot of these services. People call and we are taking investment. We will invest your money for you within 2-3 months. We will give you your money, and I have received feedbacks of people. Oh, those things we have invested our money, but we didn't get the returns. 0 to 10. How effective are these things that are running around?
Honestly, if we were doing it right, it would have been a very safe investment instrument. I would always want people to do proper background check
before.
Yes, proper background check before. If you go to Nigeria, I mean, I think they started this crowdfunding before it caught up.
Back.
Yes, before it caught up with us. They have, I've forgotten of the platform, but they have been doing it for a while. And the system has been credible, and so people are very comfortable putting in their money. So in Ghana, if we are doing it right, then it should have been a very safe
haven.
Yes, it's a very safe haven. And so that is the reason why I think if you see a proper investment company, it's more safer. It's more safer to give your money to a proper investment company to invest your money into agriculture and give you returns.
All right. Lastly, from your point of view as a professional who is working this space for a long time, do you think, or would you say that Ghana's agriculture landscape or sector look promising and profitable enough for a diasporan who has been in this cold and saved his dollars or pounds for a long time to come and invest?
Yes, so long as we continue to produce, as in give birth, we will continue to eat. So yes, it's a promising sector. It's a very promising sector, depending on the way you would want to go about it. Yes, and you want to invest. I don't advise people to be absentee
investors.
Yes, absentee investors. So if it's farming you want to do, if you are not ready, don't go and put in your money and say you want to farm. No, look at the other activities in the chain,
the value chain.
Yes, the one that is less risky, and then put your money in. So for instance, somebody got in touch with me 2 years ago and said, oh, I want to go into coconut farming. And I was like, do you have time? He says, no, I don't have time, but I got a land. I intend to get somebody who look after the farm and da. I said, Charlie, I won't advise you to put in your money into coconut farming. If it's coconut farming you want to do, look at the coconut value chain, and then look at where the risk is less and go and put in your money. You know, people have a lot of coconut farm. The farms are in the bushes. People need trucks to go and move the coconuts and bring it to Accra, and then retail or wholesale, or you can look at the other activities in the chain without putting in your money into the real farming if you don't have time. So as absentee investments, I don't advise people to do that.
Money woman Abna Mamle Abedi, an agribusiness professional and consultant. You can find her on LinkedIn, and she does consulting. Please, she charge my people. As for you, when we mention charge, no, then you bought. She charge. Abna charges for her services. So if you want to find Abna, is it same on Twitter and also Facebook as well?
No, I keep professional things to LinkedIn. That's for
Okay.
Facebook. It's
Right.
my comic relief.
Okay.
Yes, it's my comic relief
Right. Okay.
avenue.
Okay. Okay. So you can find Abna on LinkedIn. If you don't have the app, please download it and search for Abna Mamle Abedi.
But even on Facebook, you could, if you send me a message, I will. Yes, I'll receive it and then respond.
Abna, your last words to our viewers and especially those who have been thinking of how to go about this whole thing. Your last words. Your
Okay, so
say.
because today we talked about investments, I would say you should take your time, do proper research before you do any form of investment, whether into the agribusiness space or any other thing. Money is really difficult to come by these days. So, I mean, take your time, have enough information, brainstorm, come back to the drawing board. If you want to change your mind, and then so that your monies would be safe. Okay. Money is hard to come by lately, so please keep your money safe.
Thank you very much, Abna. I truly appreciate your time with us, and you will see Abna more often here. I'm sure at some time I'll even leave the camera to her alone to give you financial tips in the area of agriculture financing so that you understand more and know what to put your money into. Some of you, when professionals like this are advising you, oh, work with the money from this area, do this with the money, you say, no, I have watched videos on the internet. This is what I want to do. I beg you, if you don't listen to us, and your money goes away, don't come and start calling us. So, would you want to share your number for them to reach out?
0243 260 823.
All right. Thank you very much for watching.
You're welcome.
Please subscribe, share the link, and make sure this video is for all my viewers globally who are watching us because I care so much. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you very much once again.